Hi there, welcome back. I have another little installment of 'Tis the Season. Instead of working on an old book, which is what I usually do, I usually work in books that are ready for the burn pile or the recycle center. This time I'm working in a book cover that I made myself. So I wanted to talk you through something. So I'm warning you now, half of it's going to be a talking video and just explain to you something I did. But for any of you who uses this method of creating spines, which is sort of my play on what I learned from, it's been so many years now. I feel badly that I can't remember. It was either Clemmy from Clemmy's Creations or Pink Oddbird making a curved spine on a rounded surface. I seem to think she used a paper towel roll. But anyhow, I decided a rolling pin would work terrific, so that's when I went to my thrift store, because they're a dime a dozen at thrift stores, rolling pins. If your thrift stores are like mine, you can get rolling pins there, and I just removed the handles. When I made this originally, I made it on this rolling pin, which is my standard one. And but as I was putting together, adding more to the signatures, because Catherine of December Past had started the signatures. That was so nice of her. And but as I was looking at it, I just felt like the spine was too extremely curved for my liking. So I wanted to soften the curve on the spine a bit. And I sort of knew how I was going to approach it, but I was still nervous about doing it, which is why I did not do it on camera, just in case I ruined the whole cover, which would have been heartbreaking, but I knew I had to do it. I wasn't liking the curve. It was too strong of a curve. So what I did was I went and got my Big Mama rolling pin, which is really, really, again, found it at a thrift store. This is a huge rolling pin. But when you think about it, the larger the diameter of a circular object, the more gentle the curve is. So I probably should have used this one. I may not have had this rolling pin when I made that cover. This cover I started 3 years ago. That's still... Sorry, just checking out where my little lady is. She's going through a stage where she's seeking out. I think it's because it's winter here and she doesn't like the cold on her feet, so she doesn't want to play outside as long, but she's getting antsy about wanting things to do. And just like with children, if you don't keep them occupied, they'll find things to occupy themselves. Anyhow, I don't think I had this when I made the cover 3 years ago. So so I thought, I've had it happen before that the spine I made for a book, even if it was old covers, old front and back cover, and I made a new spine for it, because I've had that happen a lot. And I found that the curve was too curvy for what I was wanting. So I'll just tell you what I did, because it worked. Pardon me. What I did was I got one of my glue brushes, and I just got a little jar of water, just plain water. The reason I was nervous to do this was I followed the instructions from Nick the Booksmith. I took her course on a Victorian lady's handbook, I think she calls it. And she used Mod Podge through the whole thing. And so I was a good little student the first time I made one of these. I had made a few prior to making this one, which is why I was comfortable doing my own spine rather than the kind that Nick makes. Nick makes the kind where she scores and then curves, which is fine. I just find this faster and easier, and I like it, especially when I'm looking to make a book that's more like a tome. I want a tough old book that looks like it's been on the shelf of some wizard's old library. So because I know that Mod Podge is water-based, I was a little bit nervous because everything here, and I'm really impressed by Catherine of Solstice Past, how smooth she got all this laid down. I'm impressed. Anyhow, I dipped in the water and painted it on here, dipped and painted, and I was really worried that I was going to start lifting things because Mod Podge is water-based. But I just thought, I've got to do this. I wasn't liking the curve. I've got to at least try, because it would forever drive me crazy. And I would sort of push on it to see, and it was being very stubborn. This thing was solid as a rock. So I just kept dipping more, painting more water, dip, dip, paint, 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 and I just kept going. It wasn't sopping wet, but it was definitely quite wet. Now I couldn't feel the wetness through to this side, and I did not paint on this side because this is gilding wax, this is acrylic paint, and although it has been sealed, I wasn't sure what would happen if I started adding water to this side. So I only worked from the inside, and then yes, it eventually, a little patience, letting the dampness really soak in to the, I just used file folder cardstock to create this spine, a couple of layers. It finally started giving way. So then what I did was, it was giving way, but it was wanting to curve back to the shape it remembered. So what I did was I thought, this is the curve I want. So I got out some of my rocks. You know me, I've always got rocks on my desk. And I got out some rocks just to support here. And then what I did was I got the big rolling pin and put it in there to encourage the spine to dry in the new relaxed curve as opposed to this curve. And it wasn't quite, it was still trying to spring up. It was that strong. I'm so completely impressed at how tenacious it was. So I got out my bag of rice. I don't know if you keep a bag of dry rice in your studio, but that it comes in very handy for crafting in general and bookmaking especially, because it will curve around things. So I put my bag of rice on top to weigh down this, the big round dowling that's under here. I tried using my bricks, but the bricks wanted to just roll off. Whereas this, because I angled the covers up this would stay put, and I just turned off the light and left my room for the night. And when I got back in the morning, sure enough, it had dried overnight, and it had dried in the nicer size that I'm happier with. So I just thought I'd share that with you in case you ever find yourself in such a situation where you've made a spine that's too curvy. I have in the past been able to wet a curvy spine and force it to relax, and it has cooperated without needing that much construction with the big rolling pin. I have a feeling this one was so strong was because of the banding that I did on it. I think that played a big part in why it wanted to hold the old shape and not be so cooperative. So keep that in mind again if that's the sort of thing that you may encounter in your journal making. So now this curve is more relaxed. I measured and made sure that my template still fits, which it does. Kirby, stay out of there. I'm going to get it and show you. So this is ready to go. This is for when I'm ready to sew my signatures together. And when I put it in, it still fits nicely in there, and it's going to be just fine. I do think that I'm going to put some ratty tea-dyed cheesecloth coming out the end, and I don't anticipate putting any kind of lacy pretty edges. If I do, they're going to be grungy, ripped up lace, not pretty lace. They're going to be lace that looks like maybe rodents chewed on it. Because again, I want a stronger woodland kind of feel for it. But again, a writer's journal, some fussy cuts in it, some stamping in it, and then again I wanted to make, because it's so big, I know that I've got room for a journaling board. And the nice thing about a journaling board is, well, there's two nice things. They come in handy with a big book for when, if you're writing in it or working in it, you can move your journaling board around. Plus you can decorate one edge of it. It looks really attractive sticking out of your book. So looks like Catherine of the past had put this in to be used as a journaling board. But I went through my collection of old book covers that I save to use for this exact reason, and I think I found a perfect one to be a journaling board for this this book. It's a little bit shorter. That's fine, because I'm going to be making some leaves coming out and off the edge. And I love the color of the green, and that it already naturally looks aged because it's legitimate. This is from an old school reader. You can still see here it was from Holy Cross School over in Oshawa. So I think that I'm going to be able to put that over, put a nice smooth piece of paper on it so that it can be put in and used for writing on. And then I'm anticipating I'm just going to leave that alone. It's just really nice looking, and let the evergreens and the holly and the ivy really be the showcase of the journaling board. So I'm going to put this aside. So as I said, that was just sort of a talk through tutorial. I have been working on the signatures and putting papers into the signatures. So this paper is, it looks handmade. It's from Camille. Camille sent me a lovely gift of just a box full of wonderful things. So, and I just thought that looks perfect for the opening page of a woodland type journal. Now, it's shorter, so I may very well make it into a Dutch door, but then I'd lose all this marvelous blotching. Now this might be a good side for a Dutch door, and then that blotching will still show up. So I'm going to keep that in the back of my head, or I can, even though it's shorter than the rest of the signature, I can put an edging on it. I can make a paper ruffle, or else I've got offcuts from the papers. My friend Alice came bearing a wonderful gifts the other weekend when she and Nancy came for our girls' day out when we hit the road, and she brought some beautiful papers. And so I have used, there was red paper and there was green paper, which of course goes exactly with on the cover. So I could make a paper ruffle out of this. I'm not going to worry about it for now, but I did want to show you more of the papers that I've put in since then. I've put in some Nancy lace papers, and then here's the paper from Alice, and I think that's that. And then what else have I got? I made some folios out of Amazon packing paper. You know, when they crumple it up and stuff it around the item and put it in a huge box. The paper's terrific. It's got lots of character. So I made some signatures out of that paper, and I'm leaning towards that to make a paper ruffle for the front cover. And then I also added in, I have some vintage paper here that's got some really beautiful yellowing around the edge. It almost looks like it's glowing from the center. So I really love that. And all it needed was to be folded in half. It was such a perfect size. That's the cool thing about the instructions that Nick the Booksmith gives you when you take one of her courses. And you might think, oh, that's awfully expensive. That course is yours. You have access to it forever. It entitles you to come back and watch it over and over and over and over. And like, I even went into it the other day because I wanted to be reminded of one of the steps in the bookmaking, because I honestly have not made a cover in 3 years. So, and sure enough, I signed in, and I've taken 2 classes through Nick the Booksmith many years ago, and it still lets me in, and I still have access to all the courses that, because there's several videos that come with each course that you take with Nick. So I'm really doing a commercial here for Nick, but you know what? It's well worth it. If you think that this is something you're going to want to be doing, there are things that you can learn in those courses that that you'll use for your whole bookmaking fun time. So, and one of the things that she does for her big books that she makes is she makes them size-wise, makes it so that they fit a standard 8.5 by 11 paper folded in half. So which tells you that for Christmas, Catherine passed. In order to get this decal edge, I would have made it too short if I used 8.5 by 11. So I used legal size tea dyed paper so that I could get that decal edge, which explains why some of the pages have tip outs, because I didn't want to waste too much paper. So here I've got some more of that vintage paper, and here we had takeout one night, and my smart husband is quite used to living with a wife who makes journals now, and I heard him unpacking our dinner, and he said, "Don't worry, I saved the bag. I opened it carefully and saved it," because he knew that I'd be yelling, "Save that paper bag," because he's the kind of guy that'll tear into a bag. And sure enough, I think I got 8 folios from that one big brown paper bag. It was fantastic. So again, some more Nancy paper and some more Alice paper and some of my tea dyed and coffee dyed paper. So basically these are all very similar, and now I'm going to I want to add in some I have one folio from Edith, but I want to find another one. I'm hoping I still have the folio from December. So I don't know about you, but when I get into an Edith book, the Thrifting Gods have been kind to me. I have a lot of Edith Holden Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. They seem to jump off the shelves at thrift stores at me, and I have quite a stash of them. I am not ashamed to say. So gee, November might be nice to have too. That's kind of wintry. Oh, and it's got St. Catherine's Day, November 25th. Now, wouldn't it have been fun if November 29th had been St. Catherine's Day? That would have been fun. That's my birthday, in case you were wondering why I would be excited about that. Let's see if there's any December. Oh, I want that. I want mistletoe. Holly is there. I'm not sure I want to use that. So usually if I cut into a new old Edith, I will I think this is December. I will just take the whole thing apart and then keep it in. Oh, it's November. I'm going to put it aside anyways. I will just take the time and take the whole book apart so that I can go through it. I'm sorry if this is taking a while. I should just hunt it down. Maybe I'll pause and hunt it down. You've all seen through Edith anyways, so hold on a moment. Okay, so I found December, and then I also found a page with some holly on it and a page from November, but I'm not sure I want toadstools in it, so I've already still got that other page from November, but I do want this holly. So, and I know I've already used holly before, so I've got to use that one, and you just can't covet. I think this is the one I've already got. Yes, I've already got it there. All right, that's enough Edith. That's all the Edith I'm going to spare. Oh, there's the little wren. I made one of these books and I named it Wren and put that little guy on the cover. Oh, I loved how that book turned out, Little Wren. That was a fun journal to make. That was one of my experiments. I think I put banding on Wren. I'll have to go look through my January. See, this amazes me about January is that in England, it's not like Canada. January, whoa, it's more bitter than December. I think February's the worst for us. There we go. Okay, so I need to decide where these are going to go. So that's just going to be fussy cut, and I might fussy cut that and put it on the front. That would look beautiful. Now here's a cool thing to do. Although this was originally in the book like this, I want that December to be the presentation side of this folio. So I'm going to flip it over. The numbers will be out of order, but that doesn't matter to me. So it's going to go in, and then it's going to have tip outs that way. So I want it to be not in the center. So the center of 11 would be 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So 6 is the center. So I think I will put an Edith folio in number 5 and number 7, I think. So let's put December in there, and then we'll put January in 7. I will decide how I'm going to trim them down later. Sometimes I find, especially with something as precious as Edith, if I'm too quick to start cutting and fitting, I can, oh, you're going to get fussy cut too. Oh, that's cute too, but I really like the mistletoe. I wonder if I can, you know what, I might put November in a little earlier. December is in 5, so 3. What I'm going to do is put these in my Jessie the Pressy tonight and see how compacted I can get them. Yeah, Edith is going to have to be trimmed down, but I think I measured the other day, and I can trim just enough off the bottom and off the top without losing anything, inking it, and it's going to fit just fine. I don't think I want any more than that in there. I've got a good pinch. I want to be able to put some paper ruffles, and I definitely want to be able to fit the journaling board in there. I may have to look and see if I can find a bigger board. I'm having second thoughts that this is smaller. I'm going to take a look-see and see if I can find it, although I really loved that that old book cloth on there. So that's today is mostly talking and showing you how far I've come. I also want to be able to fit these in, and I want them to be a center spread. I'm hoping to maybe fit these somewhere in, maybe over top of, if this holly's going to go on the front page, to have that laying over top, I think would look really, really pretty. And this glassine paper, if you look carefully, you can see there's spider webs on it. It was from an old photo album that I found at my Way and Pay store that burned down last year. This accepts distress ink really well. So I'll yellow it up a bit because it didn't, although it was an old photo album, it didn't yellow very much. I was very hopeful when I found it, and I thought, oh, it's got glassine paper, yay! And I was thrilled about the spider webs, and but they weren't very yellowy. But I can yellow them with distress ink, and they're very happy to be yellowed up with distress ink. So I've got some work ahead of me, and I'm probably going to take a few days to get that done, and the next time we see each other, these will probably be ready to be to do some stamping in them. I want to do quite a bit of stamping, animals and leaves and trees, things like that. And I'm really going to let the book journaling board be the focal point for how pretty, rather than laces down the sides, this journaling board is going to be what's beautiful along the edge of the opening side of the book. So there we go. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day and the next couple of days. We'll get together in a few days, and hopefully I will have quite a bit more done on this book. But if it's anything important, I will really try to pick up my camera and turn it on. So take care, and I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing much better. Had a hard weekend last weekend health-wise, but this weekend is much better. Take care. Bye.